You can tell it instantly when someone is struggling. It is in the slight tightness around their mouth or the way they pick at the edge of the table wood while describing a failure. You have learned to read these micro-expressions, mapping out solutions for them. A gentle suggestion here, a reframing there. You are adept at becoming an expert on every person you love, knowing precisely where their emotional weaknesses reside and what specific words will provide the most stable bridge across that weakness. The strange thing is how certain that competence feels in others' company. At your friend's kitchen table, watching them fumble through a relationship crisis or a career pivot, you become calm. You are wise. You seem unburdened by the weight of their specific despair. What happens when that exact scenario lands on your own plate? That effortless translation into actionable advice. It evaporates. It becomes impossible to distinguish the soothing voice from the anxious, panicked inner monologue. The problem transforms from a puzzle you can observe into an element in a storm you are caught inside of. Consider this. Is it possible that our best insight only exists in a state of cognitive distance? When we are immersed in a crisis, the view is too close. It is like staring at a vivid bruise. All you see are the angry reds and purples, nothing else making sense. We feel trapped inside the raw immediacy of suffering. Philosophy often talks about the necessary separation required for understanding. The Stoics spoke deeply about distinguishing what belongs to us from what does not. This idea holds weight here, though usually applied to external events like bad weather or lost coins. What we are confronting is something more internal, the divide between your observational self and your experiencing self. This division is where judgment lives. When you speak for another person, you assume the role of the detached observer who has seen enough patterns unfold to predict a safe sequence of moves. You are applying the framework of already lived experience to someone else's unique suffering. This process requires emotional safety, and frankly, it requires some degree of necessary numbness, a kind of temporary dissociation that makes you smart. Yet, when the turmoil belongs entirely to you, the role of observer vanishes. The internal narrative floods in, a torrent of self-blame, worst-case scenarios, and relentless should-haves. This panicked first-person view is not an objective reality, it is simply noise, but it feels like absolute truth while you are experiencing it. The struggle here is learning how to become the reliable third party for yourself. You must learn to approach your own narrative as if it belongs to someone else. Someone worthy of that precise blend of careful attention and non-judgmental curiosity. This demands a conscious suspension of identity. You must speak to the parts of you that are screaming, "I am failing," in the voice you would use when speaking to your partner, or even to a child who is inconsolably upset. What does it feel like to give yourself permission to simply exist without immediate correction? How do you manage the desire to solve the emotion instead of just noticing it? The process is not about finding the perfect answer, because in those moments, there may be no single correct path forward, only a series of imperfect steps. We mistake profound internal chaos for unique failure. We think that because our suffering feels so singular and overwhelming, therefore the solutions we are seeing elsewhere must be impossibly difficult to reach. This comparison only adds another layer of shame. It is exhausting, this assumption of exceptional difficulty. The gift you possess, the capacity for gentle external clarity, is a tool. You do not lose it simply because the problem becomes yours. You just have to remember that it is a tool that requires setting down the immediate, messy self and picking up the calm, steady hand of perspective. Treat your own situation like it arrived at that kitchen table. Do not argue with the scene. Observe it. If this gave you something to sit with, that is what this channel is for. Small shifts in how you see your own life. I will see you in the next one.